Fang Ping put down the teapot. Valuation of 60 million. It's a little lower. We have been established far away. 35 million yuan was invested in offline delivery. 20 million for the construction and promotion of the platform. We have accumulated a large number of users during this time. With the development of the internet age, the value of these users will be beyond imagination. Then he slowly picked up the teacup. For 30 million, I can sell 30% of the equity to them. Li Qingzi said hesitantly, Mr. Fang, our investment in the catering platform is less than 20 million. Could it be that Fang Ting smiled slightly? The internet sells concepts, and not in kind. You say he's worth 100 million. That's worth 100 million. Say, he's not worth much. It's really worthless. So Fang Ting's eyes were clear. You relay my next words to the other person. The distant company is our flat open. A certain 5-5, 1 in 3 high sections. I need money urgently. That's why the company's shares are sold cheaply. You are the first. There's a sincerity to invest in our business. In addition to getting shares, you will also get the friendship of our company. Investing in a distance is also regarded as investing in our president. The bosses are smart people. The pros and cons should be known. Several people from the other company looked shocked. Mr. Fang is really already a high-end product. Li Qingzi sweated slightly. Bosses, let's decide as soon as possible. In the near future, Fang always has to go far away. There will be no chance then. June 5th, the lending system of an online shopping platform was launched simultaneously. A certain 5 students are curious to log in and use it. The logistics department has reached the largest cargo flow since the establishment of the school. Staff at the counter. Busy people don't have time to sit down at all. A member of the plain society. There is also an endless stream of people going back and forth the logistics department. On the other side, outside the Budosha building, Qin Fengqing was scolding Fu Chanding Fang Ping in annoyance. Why don't you lend us credits? I'm sure of all the ammunition and weapons. Just wait for the credit to be paid. Now they are all robbed. Like, several other seniors from the Sampan realm also chimed in. Dancers can pick it up. Why can't we pick it up? The school doesn't care. Fang Ping was too much of a bully. At this time, Fang Ping was in Huang Jing's office. Fang Ping looked at his phone and said, the lending system went online for 3 hours. 80,000 credits have been loaned. Huang Jing asked suspiciously, why not lend it to the students of Sampan? Fang Ping said that it was not that he did not borrow. It's about controlling risk. In fact, the remaining 20,000 credits are reserved for them. It's just that the qualifications for this loan are strictly reviewed. Treat the 3-rank martial artists. Some of them are to urge them to go down to the cave. There's also a part of control. Some students are arrogant. I'm worried that they have good equipment and elixir. Immediately rush into the cave and die. In addition to strengthening the audit, interest may be increased on some of the 3 products. Huang Jin frowned. Kasai Ping explained that the 3-rank warrior had to go down to the cave. If the casualties are too great, my company can't afford to lose. Unless the school can give me more credits. Huang Jing said with a worried face, just raise interest rates. More credits are gone. There's already a gap in school funding. The new semester is just around the corner. Also prepare ammunition and weapons for the new students. Fang Ping said suspiciously, the last exchange match. Isn't Jingwu going to give us 10% of our resources? Huang Jin pinched the shrewd acupoint. There is still a gap. Fang Ping stroked his chin. Zhenin said after a moment that he wanted to solve this matter. It's actually simple. Huang Jin was stunned. Suddenly raised his head. Fang Ping said that this year is the 60th anniversary of the founding of Mowu School. You can hold a school celebration. Ask graduates to make donations. A student who graduated from Mowu. Almost all of them are big names in society. Let me be responsible for donating 1.08 billion. Absolutely no problem. After that, he secretly thought about it in his heart. Maybe it will. Take this opportunity to get in touch with bigwigs from all walks of life. Let them invest in me. Huang Jing's 10 fingers are crossed, groaning and grating. Looking at the hesitant Huang Jing, Fang Ping continued to output. Dean Mowu is also to cultivate more strong people. I don't think there's anything wrong with raising donations. Officer Huang waved his hand. Got it, get out. I thought about it. So Fang Ping turned around and walked out. And I'm gone. Dean slammed. The door was closed. Give me a second. Fang Ping opened the door again. Poke your head out. The Dean School really wants to collect donations. You can find me to be responsible. One of my students opened his mouth. Huang Jing yelled impatiently. Go out, teenagers. Get the sexy female tutor exclusive sheets. That's amazing. It's just made for me. At this time, the Demon Martial Arts campus. Fang Ping looked at the tactics in his hands. Condensed chi and blood. A bloody sword in the mouth. This exercise is familiar. Lu Fengru walked over with a stone. Many dancers have bruises in their mouths when they are injured, then spew it out to disrupt the enemy's line of sight. Such a small scheme, having a stronger opponent has no effect, and my blood sword technique is a thin life combat method. With that, he threw the stone in his hand into the air. I watched the voice fall. A beam of blood sword suddenly erupted from Lu Fengru's mouth. I only heard a bang. The stone was pierced in an instant. Fang Ping was taken aback. This tactic is too insidious. But he immediately realized that he had said the wrong thing. Hurley turned around and gave a thumbs up. I mean, it's a really powerful tactic. Then a wicked smile broke into his face. It's more than that. It's just made for me. Close to the enemy. Suddenly, a mouthful of old blood spurted out. Who to reason with the headshot? Lu Fengru said lightly. In fact, there are many people who have thought about this method of warfare. But no one can create it. Here's why. The key to this type of tactics is not the blood that spits out. It is the tempering of the laryngeal cartilage. When refining the laryngeal cartilage, because the skull is not tempered, when the chi and blood reach the neck, it will weaken. The method described by the blood swordsmanship can solve this problem perfectly. Then he specially reminded Fang Ping. Remember, this is a secret. Noriki. Fang Ping nodded seriously. Understood, so Lu Fengru said, it is not difficult to temper the throat bone. Just look at the method and get started. In the blink of an eye, it was evening. At this time, Fang Ping's mouth quickly bulged. Poof! A bloody sword shot out. After the blood sword landed on the boulder, boop chirp, the arrow was fired. Only a small hole was left in the boulder. Fang Ping's face was embarrassed. Lu Fengru said that the power was still a little smaller. I want to penetrate the skull. The burst of blood swordsmanship must be at least 30 calories or more. Continued, Fang Ping turned his head and touched his throat. Said hoarsely, Teacher, I sprayed back and forth a dozen times. I feel like my throat is going to be wasted. He couldn't help but complain in his heart. No wonder this tactic is so strong. It's like cultivating with your life. Lu Fengru said lightly. It's a big deal to be dumb for a while. What are you afraid of? Continue to practice. And the new blood madness knife, and Yimbu don't fall behind. Then his eyes drooped slightly. Arrived at the third high stage. Almost everyone can master the battle mirror. To have an advantage in speed, it can only deepen the cultivation level of the pace. Otherwise, you will explode stronger. It's useless if you can't hit someone. Fang Ping pondered. Indeed, Yimbu has to work hard. Don't be afraid if you can't fight. But you have to be able to run. Tactics are not theories. It needs to be practiced. Practice consumes chi and blood. Now you can only recover on your own. And take pills to replenish chi and blood. It's too slow. So he pretended to be pitiful and said to the teacher, such a high-intensity training. Is there a pill subsidy? Lu Fengru's eyes narrowed. I'm sleepy, goodbye. Looked at Lu Fengru's departing back. Fang Ping stood in place. Poverty was shed. Tears on June 10th. Huawei V Great War Power Ranking Update. It's different from previous years. This time the top 5 rankings. For the first time, it was a personal record. Internet was boiling. Topics related to the top 5 rankings instantly appeared on the hot search. People are shocked and puzzled by the list. Isn't the Big Five a school? Why do the students still kill people? What the Big Five are doing? No matter what, their human lives in hand. However, for the discussion on the internet, the official only made a simple response. 5. University students have the power to enforce the law. Those who kill are those who deserve to be killed. From exchange competitions to the formation of local teams. And then to the public dancer record. China is gradually getting the public to accept some facts. For the day when the truth is revealed. People don't panic too much. Be able to understand everything a dancer does. Fang Yuan, who learned the information, urgently called Fang Ping. He asked Fang Ping worriedly. You killed someone. Fang Ping smiled and said how? You're scared. It's not that you're killing bad guys. I don't have a calm answer to the other party. Fang Yuan suddenly shouted excitedly, haha. I'll just say you've got to kill the bad guys. Fang Ping. I became a dancer. Let's kill the bad guys together. Fang Ping was speechless for a while. I thought he was worried about my safety. You're just thinking about this nonsense all day long. Are you preparing for the high school entrance examination? Fang Yuan confidently said properly. I can't wait to take the test tomorrow. Exam number 17. Can you come back? Fang Ping smiled softly and fought back. You have to take the test. I'll give you a big gift after the exam. The time for Emperor Jing to cry was set. The indifferent female tutor is uncharacteristically calling you over today. I want to tell you, give me all back alive. At this time, the Dixing building is far away from the company. Fang came out with Li Qingze in a suit and leather shoes. Welcome Zhang Yuanhao, Deputy General Manager of Xinwu Fund. Zhang Yuanhao smiled and said with a smile, Mr. Fang is so busy. See me at the time. It's such an honor. Fang Ping also responded politely. Mr. Jiang laughed. You are so sincere. It should be our honor from afar. Several people came to the meeting room. Jiang Yuanhao stood up, handed the contract to Fang Ping. Said hesitantly, Mr. Fang, our company is very optimistic about distant catering. At the same time, we also believe in your 5 strengths. It was Fang Ping who raised his hand and smiled. We can talk about it if we can. Don't worry. So Jiang Yuanhao opened his mouth to Mr. Fang. Fast talking, and I'll get straight to the point. That is true. Xinwu invests in the distance and also invests in yourself. You should be well aware of this. We have one more concern, so I added it to the contract. If there is a change in the distant equity in the future, you are no longer the president of faraway catering. Then Xinwu's investment is at a premium. In this case, Xinwu has the right to demand compensation from Yuanfang. The amount of compensation is 3 times the contract amount. Joke? How could I possibly quit the company I had worked so hard to run? So Fang Ping grinned, no problem. Jiang Yuanhao doesn't talk nonsense. Then he stretched out his hand and said that it was written in the contract. Xinwu Fund with 30 million. Acquired a 30% stake in Yuanfang Catering. Fang Ping said after signing the contract. It is convenient. I hope the 30 million will arrive today. Jiang Yuanhao was slightly surprised that he was in such a hurry. Fang Ping said that he urgently needs money now. So Jiang Yuanhao raised his hand to signal the secretary behind him. A moment later, Fang Ping's phone rang. He picked up his phone and looked at it. 27.6 million refreshing. 2.4 million less. It seems that the tax is paid. Ding. The system prompt also sounds. The value of wealth increased by 80.5 million. Fang Ping was overjoyed, and I was right. 30% of the shares sold. We'll let the system indirectly decide. My company is now worth over 100 million. It seems that the company's affairs are still more concerned. One day, if it is valued at tens of billions. I'm still worried about not having enough money. Cooperation. The two stood up and shook it. Say goodbye to thank you, Mr. Jiang. Far away will not disappoint you. We'll see. The company's affairs are taken care of. Fang Ping pondered. Estimate. The pure cave may cost 10 million in wealth value. Then you have to earn 30 million to break 100 million. Now you need to save some flowers. It's too humiliating to live without wealth. Fang Ping returned to the demon afternoon. Happened to bump into Qin Fengqing coming to the plane to make trouble. Fang Ping asked him to get out of here. Why is my interest so much higher than others? Fang Ping's brows furrowed slightly. Qin Fengqing, you dare to come to me again. See how I clean you up. The next day, Lu Fengru took all the students she had brought with her. They all called to the dormitory. We meet for the first time. First, they introduced themselves. Lu Fengru said lightly, over the years. I took in a total of 15 students. Now there are only 7 of you left. Call you all? I want to tell you. You are not allowed to die again. So he made arrangements for everyone. Fenghua is next ready to break through the 4 products. After graduation, I want to work in the unit. Don't go to military headquarters. Hua Bao Mingyao is ready to break through the 3 products. Yao Duan Yiqing broke through the peak of the 3rd grade as soon as possible. They are not allowed to go to the basement again. Fang Ping, Xue Mei, Yunxi. The 3 of you haven't been in a cave before. This is a must-go. Mark my words. There is a future. At school, a lot of tutors will tell you. Dancers must dare to fight. Don't be afraid to fight. Don't have to fight. I'll tell you when I go to the cave army. It's better to die than to give in. But I'm going to say, those who are sent to death are idiots. Fang Ping people are selfish. Others died and pulled down. I want to bring my fellow disciples back in their entirety. There is really a mortal crisis. Escape 1 counts as 1. Play it by ear. Snow Plum Yunxi. Let me remind you, in particular, when Fang Ping was running, you have to run faster than he does. Liang Nu couldn't help but sneer. Fang Ping was speechless. Lao Lu is praising me or hurting me. I'm so brave. Why did the fierce people run away in a square? However, Fang Ping was slightly surprised. It's the first time I've seen Mr. Lu talk so much. He was really worried about us. So he replied earnestly and understood. Teacher, I will never abandon my classmates. After speaking, Lu Fengru rubbed Jin Mingxue and said so much. Let's all go back. Work hard to cultivate. Then they turned and left. At this time, Lu Fengru suddenly stopped Fang Ping. You stay. Fang Ping sat on the sofa and said with a smile, Teacher, Ping left me alone. It's not like you're going to open a small stove for me. Lu Fengru looked at Fang Ping with a little worry. The time for the Forbidden Cave has been set. Just 5 days later. Where there's a will, there's a way. Earn 1 ship. After all, there are no hardworking people in Bailey Yangshan. The day pays off. 3,000 girls can dance. What the hell is this? There are only 108 people in my Plains Club. At this time, Lu Fengru said to Fang Ping, the time of the Forbidden Cave was set. officially entered on June 20th. Led by Tang Feng. Fang Ping looked helpless. How could it be Tang Feng again? Lu Fengru said that Tang Lion was the pinnacle of 6 products. IQ may not be enough, but your safety is still guaranteed. Then he handed Fang Ping a pendant for you. My dad left it. There's a picture of him inside. He disappeared after the Forbidden Cave last year. In case you come across it, you can ask him for help. Fang Ping asked the teacher curiously. What rank is Shigong? Lu Fengru said lightly that it was the pinnacle of the 7th grade. Fang Ping was happy in his heart. Great master. I'll have to keep it safe. In case you run into it, maybe you'll give me something good. Lu Fengru continued. Encounter danger. Protect Xuemei. As for Yunxi, it's best to take her with you when you run away. Fang Ping was stunned for a moment. Lu Fengru smiled. You really think I let him run with you? I want you to protect him. The old man of the Chun family had 6 or 7 grandchildren. Yunxi is the only granddaughter. That old guy can. Arrangements will be made. He has a better chance of survival than you do. A drop of cold sweat slipped down Fang Ping's face. Knowing this, Lu Fengru's eyes froze. In the end, except for the old headmaster, guarding against several other grandmasters of the demon martial arts, including Wu Kuishan. They're all staunch human firsts. I offended a lot of people in previous years. Hell knows what they think. For the sake of the big picture, maybe you could sacrifice part of the little 5. And you're in the little 5 range. Kill my students. Maybe it will hit me so hard that I can't break through the grandmaster. Avoid causing trouble to humans. You got a lot of brains. Be careful when you encounter danger. Let's see if it's an accident or if someone is deliberately targeting me. Fang Ping scratched his head. Not really. Those clans are defending their families and country. All of them are scarred. Although I think it's unlikely. But it's always a good idea to keep an eye on it. So Fang Ping said helplessly, Teacher. I wasn't too scared. Now I feel like there are enemies everywhere. You could die at any moment. Lu Fengru replied lightly. That's right. Fang Ping said expectantly. Do you have anything to save your life? For example, the scroll that sealed your own power. Or a weapon that burst the power of the clan at once. Lu Feng gently stroked her chin and said I want it too. Give me some if you have one. Fang Ping was speechless. You always have the elixir. Lu Fengru pondered for a moment. Take out 3 pills. After eating the pill of the storm blood pill, qi and blood can burst out with twice the power of usual. The side effect is to burn out your qi and blood. Fang Ping was taken aback. Burn it and you die. Pill, all Lu Fengru said. If you can recover before you burn it, you can't die. But it will hurt the vitality of the body. Do you want it? Fang Ping hurriedly closed the box. Yes, then the system prompt sounds. Wealth increased by 4.5 million. Fang Ping's taken aback. This thing is worth so much. 3 bloodburst pills. The system is valued at 4.5 million. Wouldn't it be better to sell it? It's at least 2 million pieces. Just when Fang Ping was still immersed in joy, Lu Fengru had already turned around and walked towards the bedroom. Fang Ping hurriedly said, Teacher, give me a little more of this. Anyway, if someone else eats it, they will die. Lu Fengru stopped, said lightly, don't talk nonsense. Take some time to go back and say goodbye to your family. Lu Feng's suicide note, if he is really dead. The school will take care of you. Family. With that, he walked upstairs. Fang Ping's complicated eyes slightly curved the corners of his mouth. Then he bowed deeply in the direction of the staircase. On June 18th, the high school entrance examination ended. The gate of Yangqing Middle School. Fang Yuan ran out excitedly, waving his hands and shouting brother. Fang Ping also beckoned. But behind Fang Yuan, there was also a group of female students. Fang Ping was stunned. I didn't even have her to react. The group of female students shouted together that the vice president was good. Fang Ping instantly had goosebumps. Nanny, what's going on? Fang Yuan raised his hand and pointed at himself in embarrassment. That's the president. You are the vice president. Fang Ping's face was horrified. Girl, how many people are there in your club? The girl in front of him answered him again magnificently. Where there's a will, there's a way. Earn 1 ship. Billion City. After all, there are no painstaking people. The day pays off. 3,000 girls can dance. Fang Ping's eyes rolled white. Good guy. There are only 108 people in a 3,000 plane society. Round, you want to turn the sky upside down. Fang Ping pinched Fang Yuan's face and said, the president is amazing. Fang Yuan said that they had to come in. No, neither. I don't accept them, so I start my own club. He said he was helping me set up a branch. When it was over, I collected a tour fee and sent it to our house. Fang Ping was speechless for a while. Then you said yes. Fang Yuan explained and agreed. But I said I don't want a tour fee. As a result, they say that they don't charge and they don't recognize them. Then I ran to the gate of my school and cried. Fang Ping's eyes lit up. There's such a good thing. But he reacted immediately. Hurriedly took out his phone. Wrong. It's just nonsense. There's so many people. If something happens, who's responsible? I have to talk to Uncle Tan. I can't let you go on like this. Fang Yuan touched his face and said, but Uncle Tan asked me to open the back door not long ago. Let his niece join the society. Fang Ping spat out. Tan Zhengping is crazy. Then he sighed helplessly. Forget it. In short, be smart yourself. Don't associate with people who don't mess around. Don't just stand up for others. After speaking, he turned around and got a gift box from the car. Handed to Fang Yuan. Give you Fang Yuan's eyes to shine in an instant. Wow, is this the big gift I said earlier? Fang Ping smiled. Well, open it and take a look. Fang Yuan opened the gift box with an expectant expression. Wow, but the next second he looked confused. Poked a foot and bloody knife. What the hell is this? The boy's about to go to the cave. Brother is going to go on a long trip. I'm afraid I'll get lost. Can't find your way home. You have to take care of your parents. At this time, Fang Yuan looked at the tactics in the gift box. I was so angry that my face became round. Fang Ping hurriedly patted Fang Yuan's head. You can take a look at these tactics and materials. Don't be a dancer with only blood and energy. Wait until you become a dancer. You can practice this book first. Foot poke, bloody madness, and blood swordsmanship. You can't practice until you reach the 2nd or 3rd grade. After learning it, you have to burn the exercises. Count his words. Choose male martial arts or demon martial arts. If you are admitted to the men's martial arts, you will go to find Wang Jinyang. Let him give you a great mentor. If you go to Mowu, my teacher's name is Lu Fengru. You and I have an old friend who is from the logistics department. I thought Mr. Li. What is Mr. Li's name? Forget it. I can't remember. Anyway, if you run into trouble, you can go to them. Let's just say it's my sister. Fang Ping stroked his chin and said seriously. Mom and Dad, you're a little adult. Take care of them. Fang Yuan said impatiently and loudly. Why are you telling me this? Fang Ping paused. And bend down, said Yuan with a slightly sad look. Brother is a dancer. Do the dancers understand? Since you know that my brother has killed someone, that brother may be someday. Tears instantly welled up in Fang Yuan's eyes. Tell me again, I'll ignore you. Fang Ping doted on him to wipe away his tears. Brother is going to go out in a few days. I don't think I'm dying so easily. But I'm afraid of getting lost. I'm afraid I won't find my way home. Fang Yuan suddenly put his arms around Fang Ping's neck, sobbing and saying, Brother, I don't want a gift anymore. You don't want to go good or not. Fang Ping patted him on the back and cultivated well. Next time I come back, I'll be fatter. It's getting worse and worse. On the evening of June 19th, in a hot pot restaurant in Magic Capital, Fang Ping people, one last dinner before going to the caverns. But the atmosphere was unusually heavy. No one spoke. Then, Fu Channing snapped and put the chopsticks on the table. Can you stop making the cave so scary? Sooner or later, dancers have to go through this process. It's time to eat and drink well. Be presumptuous for a while. Zhao Lei said that he needed you to comfort him. We become dancers. Have long looked down on life and death. Fang Ping said seriously, Idiot, isn't it good to be alive? I tell you, be honest when you go in. This time, I'll focus on familiarizing myself with the environment. Don't give me a brain-dead plot in a TV series. When encountering an opponent who can't be beaten, he still rushes up. Take care of yourself when you are in danger. Running one counts as one. Then, a couple walked past with a smile on their face. Several people unanimously made a salute. Fu Chanting raised his hand. He smiled evilly and said, Have you ever thought about what kind of person you are looking for? The 3 girls' cheeks instantly flushed with a wisp of Fei Hong. Fu Chanting touched Fang Ping with his shoulder. Fang Ping, you say it first. Fang Ping looked helpless. Why do you want me to say it first? Fu Chanting smiled and said with a smile, You are the strongest here. The man stroked his chin. Thinking about it seriously, well, be gentle. Preferably a dancer. There is a common language. It doesn't take much strength either. Listening to Fang Ping's words, Chun Yunqi shyly turned his gaze. Yang Xiaoman raised his hand, said, I want to find one over 180. He is handsome and stronger than me. Be careful. Can cook and take pictures. Loves to travel. Fu Chanting interrupted him. Next, Yunqi. Yang Xiaoman said angrily that I haven't finished yet. Chun Yunqi said shyly, I don't know what I like. I am also Zhao Shuimei's eyes flashing. Fu Chanting said, I just want to find a good-looking one. It doesn't matter if you're a dancer or not, but you have to be in good shape. Zhao Lei raised his hand and pointed at himself. Why do I skip when it comes to it? After Fu Chanting finished speaking, also peeked at Yang Xiaoman. But I don't have to say it. Yang Xiaoman's figure is really nice. Yang Xiaoman also noticed her gaze. Immediately stood up and clenched his fist. How do you like me? Fu Changding was sweating profusely. Hurriedly waved his hand and did not. Don't dare, don't dare. Yang Xiaoman was even more angry. What does it mean to dare not? There was a burst of laughter in the backs of the crowd. Fu Changding looked at the wine glass in his hand. We warriors never drink alcohol. But I remember my grandfather crying every time it went into the ground. We'll drink a little. With that, he took the glass and drank it. I took a sip. Fu Changding immediately stuck out his tongue. It's a little unpleasant. Fang Ping asked curiously, What is your grandfather? It's the first time I've heard you talk about it. Fu Changding said with a smile. My grandfather is the department leader of Jingwu. 6th grade high-end. Fang Ping was taken aback. Really fake. Your grandfather is so coincidental. What are you doing with demon martial arts? Fu Changding replied. Yunshi's grandfather is amazing. President of Tsunan Takashi University. Didn't he come to Mowu too? Jun Yunshi smiled non-committally and embarrassedly. Fu Changding explained. It's not just us. Many tutors or children will not apply for the Wuhan University where his parents are. Is afraid that their relatives will die in front of their eyes. Isn't that what your teacher is? Originally, if his daughter hadn't died under Principal Wu's nose. This may not be the way it is. Fang Ping nodded, which made sense. Fu Changding continued to talk about the past. My grandfather was against me practicing martial arts. I don't accept it, but I want to practice. Wait until you know about the cave. I just understood. He's afraid I'll die. The crypt is a completely different world. If you don't see it, you won't be reconciled. But suddenly I was a little scared. I'm afraid I'm really dead. I still have a lot of things to do. Zhao Lei also said that so many second-rank dancers went in together. Encounter danger. Mr. Tang may not be able to take care of everyone. At this time, Fang Ping suddenly stood up. I don't know if I'll die. But I know accidents happen every day. Natural disasters, car accidents, food poisoning, falling objects. The last second was probably still laughing. But in the next second the person may be gone. How lucky we are to be able to sit together like this, eat and chat. And he raised his glass. The only thing I could say. It's about trying to live. Yang Xiaoman also picked up his wine glass and stood up. And what he said was right. Try to stay alive. The crowd also raised their glasses. When the bang. Wine glasses collide. Try to stay alive. Die fighting to defend your homeland. Fight for humanity. In front of the Mowu administration building, the 3 great masters of the demon martial arts came to see him off in person. The students who were about to go to the cave. One person has his hands behind his back. Say out loud that you are here today. It's all my demon sister. It is the backbone of my country. It's possible. I don't want to see you young. Enter the basement now. You can blindly protect and escape. It's not in line with the original intention of warrior. Now the basement offensive is fierce. You are the elite warriors of the human race. There are obligations and responsibilities. On behalf of all the teachers and students of Mowu, I send you off. May you all return safely. Salute. Everyone's right hand was quickly raised into a fist to their chest. Tang Feng let out a loud shout and set off. It didn't take long. The bus then drove to the destination of the trip, entrance to the Devil's Cave. At the entrance there is a huge circular building that hangs over you. There were countless tanks from the military headquarters around. Armored vehicles, fighters, etc. are on standby. The demon martial artist walked into the building. A soldier stepped forward and said, Now the security check begins. All of them present their ID cards and martial arts certificates. Cell phones and electronics are taken out. These things only increase the enemy's gains. After all students have passed through the security check in turn, enter the interior area. Stand in line. A soldier ran over and reported that everything was normal at the security check. The officer leading the team nodded. Then he raised his right fist to the side of his head. Die fighting to defend your homeland. Fight for humanity. The triumph was accompanied by a roar. Behind him, a metal door slowly opened. Fu Changding said worriedly. The Grandmaster saw him off. The soldier saluted. I'm so stressed right now. Yang Xiaoman and several others also expressed their empathy. Fang Ping smiled helplessly and steady. The students walked down the stairs of the passage. Go to the next floor. A huge multi-sided display, hanging from the ceiling. Many scattered dancers gather here. Everyone looked up and sighed. There is even a mission system here. The scattered dancers saw the Demon 5 trainees enter. They all raised their hands and saluted. The students of the magic dance also raised their hands in return. The crowd continued to walk inside. Come to a large metal gate. There was a small door open below that was large enough for one person to pass through. Fang Ping raised his hand and asked Teacher Tang curiously, Is this the entrance to the cave? Tang Sung replied that this was to defend us against the invasion. Full metal made for gold collections. Interest of cave of things. Inside, Fang Ping was taken back. Primary alloy. He touched the door in shock. If memory serves, there is no first-class alloy on the exchange table of the logistics department. Grade D alloys cost 20 credits per kilogram. Isn't it a kilogram of 100 credits for grade A? At this time, a man with a scar on his face walked out the door. Does the little one want to move out? Fang Ping said excitedly. If you want the scar man to answer, you can work hard if you want to. Immediately, he put his arm around Fang Ping's shoulders, laughed, and said that one day the basement of the magic capital was pacified. This door is useless. Let's team up and tear down the door. Fang Ping said helplessly. I may not be able to look at this door then. This kid's tone is really not small. Then Scarman looked at the students in front of him again. Said, oops, haven't you enjoyed life yet? Is there a woman? Is there a man? Then her eyes narrowed. Raise your hand to your mouth. Secretly, I'll tell you. It felt so good. Don't die so early. Tang Feng really couldn't stand it. Turned around and roared Lu Xiaoping. Lu Xiaoping said what to do. It's all adults. Can't say that yet. Don't you marry a daughter-in-law? At this time, a person leaned out of the door and came to Lao Lu. Okay, so Lu Xiaoping said sorry to the students. You have to let the other side of the passage know who's coming. The first time I entered the cave, it was so troublesome. Now let's line up and enter through the school gate. So the students lined up and entered the school gate one by one. Come to the back of the door. A giant blue energy portal. Everyone's eye. Fang Ping's eyes lit up. It's finally here. The floor of the cavern is covered in dry blood. How many battles it takes to get to this way? At this time, Fang Ping entered the portal with a phoenix mouth knife in his hand. Mighty blue energy tumbled and whistled through the passage. Fang Ping said in surprise that this was an energy channel. Tang Feng was taken aback. You can see it. Fang Ping's brows furrowed slightly. You can feel the solidification of energy particles. I don't know if I can catch it. Tang Sung hurriedly shouted goodbye. I don't think you're strong, though, but the interference of mental power is likely to cause a riot in the passage. Fang Ping erected pimple eyes. Right, Tang Sung said, with a solemn face. No one can travel between the two worlds. Last year's Tiannan Cave crisis. It was several clans who forcibly blocked the passage with spiritual power. It also stopped the invasion of cave humans. Fang Ping stroked his chin and said something like this. Wouldn't it be enough for the grandmasters to do this all the time? The enemy can't get through. We can't get in. Lock down the country's caverns. We're not under so much pressure. Tang Feng said. Can't do it. The passage will become more and more stable over time. Finally, it is completely formed. After all the Demon 5 students entered the passage, Tang Feng walked ahead. Take them to the other end of the passage. The total length of the passage is 1 kilometer. The crowd soon reached the entrance on the other side. Both sides are alloyed metals. The only difference is that there is only a small door on this side. Get out the door. Fang Ping looked up at the sky. This is the cave sun. Everyone looked up. It's so big it's ugly. The place where the people are located is called Hope City. It is a human stronghold in the Devil City caves. At this time, all the Demon 5 students lined up and stood in the square. Magic Capital Cave at the pinnacle of the 6th grades. Deputy General Su Mo, the supreme head of the military department. I would like to welcome all the students. The conditions here are rudimentary. Some red tape is saved. We'll talk about it. He directly began to explain the relevant information of the Demon Capital Cave. Hope City has 50,000 troops. There were less than 8,000 warriors. The strength of Tiannan City is 4 times that of ours. Annually, we'll launch dozens of military attacks on Hope City. 80 kilometers to the north of us is Tianmen City. There are a large number of cave villages outside the city. Idle cave warriors. There will also be an organized attack on Hope City. Let the scattered warrior team attack and kill cave warriors in the wild. Armies and beasts. It is the first task of the Hope City garrison. Su Mafu finished his introduction. Tang Feng began to explain the task. You're coming in for the first time. There is only one goal. That is to be familiar with the terrain and environment. For the first 3 days, we were within 10 kilometers. Familiarize yourself with military strongholds and supply points. After 3 days, enter the 30-kilometer range to explore. Free and easy after a week. Out of the cave after 20 days. Fang Ping raised his hand and asked, is the teacher's seizure in the cave all his own? Tang Feng replied. Of course. Fang Ping's eyes lit up. Can the military department provide the location of some nearby energy mines? Tang Feng was speechless for a while. If an energy mine is found that can be mined, the military department has long been on the move. It's your turn. Other than that, the energy mining world energy concentration is extremely efficient. So most of them are dominated by powerful beasts. If you run into it, it's best to run. It's your rank. If you are discovered, you will die. Fang Ping's brows furrowed. If you say so, you'll find out. I can't take the energy mine away. It's arranged. Tang Feng led everyone to start acting. The opening of the gates was accompanied by a rumbling sound. The gates slowly opened. The crowd walked out of the city in an orderly manner. All the students looked around with a wary expression. Fang Ping looked at the city wall outside. I was shocked. The exterior walls are all made of metal. But he thought about it again. It is also easy to destroy stone walls for first and second rank dancers. Look down at the ground. Fang Ping's brows furrowed slightly. The ground was covered in dried blood. How many battles it takes to get to this way? At the departure of the multitude, the gates slammed shut. Everything went too well. On the contrary, it made people feel uneasy. The first night the boy cried forbiddenly and was attacked by the enemy. What is there such a Jade Sky powerhouse? At this time, everyone, come into the wild. Tang Feng began to teach them to find water sources and observe ambush sites. Tricks such as setting traps. Some of the plants in the cave are familiar. Some have never seen them before. Animals are very similar to those of the earth. The difference is that they all have energy gathering in their bodies. Familiarize yourself with the location of the barracks in the field. It is also an important task of this trip. Everything is new and interesting. It even makes everyone forget how dangerous the cave is. At this time, Tang Feng raised his hand and shouted to rest in place. Yang Xiaoman sat on the ground with his ass, said with a look of enjoyment. The air here is just wonderful. Fang Ping said. How do you know it's air? Maybe not. Yang Xiaoman said angrily. You fell asleep in class. It was air that was tested. Fang Ping looked skeptical. Have it. Yang Xiaoman yelled angrily. Of course. Tang Feng turned his head and shouted. Quiet in the wilderness. Doesn't matter how many people there are. Don't make any noise. Fang Ping asked Teacher Tang. There is no transportation in the caves. Why don't we ride horses? Tang Feng replied that horses are such creatures with strong qi and blood. Won't converge. It's easy to get the attention of powerful creatures. When encountering Gaoping warriors, they were shocked by spiritual power. It will lose its effect. Fang Ping then asked, what if you use cave creatures as mounts? Tang Feng said don't think about it. A high-grade creature that can resist mental power. All are wise, even if it is tamed. It can also bite you back at any time. The headmaster had tamed a 7-horse Drakemon before. As a result, as soon as it was brought to Hope City, there was chaos. The military will no longer allow cave creatures to enter the city. Fang Ping sighed in disappointment. The Mount Dream was shattered. None of the principles of the 8 products succeeded in taming. Wouldn't I have to have 9 grades to have hope? The screen turns. The crowd returned to Hope City. A moment of effort. The cave turned from day to night. Torches were lit one after another on the lookout. The top of the secondary window leaned on the window and sighed about the night of the cave. It's so dark at night. It's exactly what the teacher described. Day to night in an instant. There's moonlight on the surface. It's outside. It is impossible to distinguish between east and west, north and south. Subsequently, he turned his head and said with a smile, you said to touch the girl's side. Do they recognize who I am? A drop of cold sweat slipped down Fang Ping's face. Siping warriors can see at night. If you don't know if you die, you go. A sound from Fuzhong Dinghua. I'm not used to falling on the bed. If only I could swipe my phone. Walk around the cave for a day. It doesn't seem to be as scary as the teachers say. Zhao Lei said that this is where to go. We are today. It's just a 10 kilometers radius. It was also Fang Ping who was walking in the air, cultivating the steak bow. There was a faint feeling of uneasiness in my heart. Everything went well over. On the contrary, it made people feel uneasy. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Fang Ping opened his eyes suddenly. Loud cheers came from outside. The dancers gathered at the north gate to meet the enemy. All below the 4 flats are left in the house. The crowd who was just about to rush out hurriedly stopped. Fang Pingtian hesitated solemnly. We can't go out. 2 more roars followed. 2 drops of cold sweat slid down Fu Changding's forehead. Teacher Tang, they should all go to support. Zhao Lei also said worriedly. I don't know how many enemies came. Fang Ping's brows furrowed. But in the end, he chose to be on standby in the room. The roar came one after another. That's it. Fang Ping waited anxiously for nearly half an hour. The great harmony came again. Disarm. The enemy has retreated. The crowd hurried out of the room. Fang Pingxi sensed something. Suddenly raised his head. The next second he was taken aback. His mental power sensed. There was a strong man in the sky. Fu Changding and several people had black eyes. Where is Fang Ping? Do you see anything? Fang Ping raised his hand and pointed to the sky. There's a galloping warrior in the sky. It has to be 50 meters high. At this time, Fu Changning's perspective is like this. Completely invisible. At this time, Tang Feng and Luo Yichuan jumped from the sky. Luo Yichuan's chest. A wound was pulled diagonally down the shoulder. I saw a few people outside. Tang Feng yelled and went back to the house. A bunch of blind people ran out to be targets for the enemy. Several people hurriedly turned around and walked towards the house. Only Fang Ping remained in place, looking at Roy Chuan's wounds. Fang Ping said and surprised teacher Luo. Roy Chuan raised his hand to cover the wound. I'm fine, don't worry. Fang Ping asked worriedly how the battle was going. Why didn't the other 3 tutors come? Tang Feng said that they were slightly injured. And for treatment, this enemy attack. A mid-grade died on our side. And 2 gatekeepers. Fang Ping's eyes widened suddenly. That's it for a moment. Actually died of a medium-grade person. Teacher Luo's 6 products are so seriously injured. The other tutors were really just minor injuries. Fang Ping's brows furrowed. Does this happen often? Tang Feng said that it could be at any time. This raid was on idle warriors. We've killed several of them. The losses are bigger than ours. Then he waved his hand helplessly. Let's go back to the house. You can't help with asking so much. Cultivate to Zhongping early. Fang Ping ignored Tang Feng's helplessness. Raising his hand and pointing to the sky, he said, "Is that the one in the sky, the Grandmaster?" There were dozens of middle-grade martial artists at the same time. Assault on the Legion. This has never happened before. The situation has deteriorated. It looks like it's time to move faster. At this time, Luo Yichuan looked at Fang Ping in surprise. You can see it from so far away. Fang Ping said that he couldn't see it clearly. But I can sense it. There are strong energy particles fluctuating on it. Luo Yichuan stroked his chin and said with a smile. Generally speaking, the mid-quality dancers have tempered the internal organs in order to have night vision, and you just skip that step. Use mental power to perceive alternative forces. It's funny. Tang Feng said that the force was so low. Strong mental power is not the same as not having one. You don't have to worry about it now. Let's go back to the house. Fang Ping pursed his lips. Then he turned and walked into the house, where teacher Luo can speak. I don't know if I can become a grandmaster next year. When the time comes, the big lion must be beaten. After Fang Ping left, Luo Yichuan asked Lao Lu in a low voice. The 3 of them were so badly wounded. What to do tomorrow? Tang Feng said it was okay. The 2 of us can also protect the students. School manpower is tight. It is impossible to send any more people over now. With that, he turned and left. Luo Yichuan could only sigh helplessly. The next day, there was a lot of discussion among the students in the city. What happened last night? It is not known if there are any casualties. Hope City is our home base. These people also rushed to their deaths. Tang Feng shouted. Quietly line up and get ready to go out of town. One of the cadets raised his hand. Suspiciously, he asked Teacher Tang. Why didn't my tutor come? Tang Feng said that they had something to do temporarily. Today, Mr. Luo and I will take you with you. Fang Ping fell silent. I'm afraid it's not that simple. On the 3rd day, the military camp outside Xuan City was attacked by the enemy. For the first time, everyone saw Tang Feng make a move. At this time, I saw him jump up. The whole body exudes the power of terrifying blood. The hiss fell with the sound of congratulations. He slammed his fist down. The head of one of the first weeping warriors was blown off the spot. This was followed by a sideways kick. Another crying warrior was kicked to the head in an instant. Tang Feng is like a flock of sheep. One hit a small quack. A few breaths took away several cave dancers. The demon dance students were dumbfounded. Teacher Tang is so strong. That's too fierce, isn't it? Between words, Tang Feng casually dealt with 2 more cave dancers. Fang Ping couldn't help but sigh. The big lion sand is like killing a chicken. I counted to the 5th grade. It's also a part of being beaten. Continue pretend to be grand. Finish all the raided enemies. The military department began to dispose of the bodies of their fallen comrades. I saw them cover the bodies of their comrades with red cloths. Then he took out his shovel and began to dig a hole next to it. Fang Ping asked suspiciously, Teacher, is this here? Luo Yichuan's eyes were sad and said that he couldn't be cremated here. The corpses could also be attacked when they were brought back. So burial in place has become customary. It can be regarded as accompanying his comrades. Until the day you in the crypt. Fang Ping was slightly stunned and won. Humans can't even hold a city in the caves. When will we win? Roy Chuan continued. It's useless to grieve in the cave. Only you get stronger. All get stronger. To change all that. It didn't take long. The bodies of the fallen comrades were all buried. After a moment of silence at the tomb, the crowd continued on their way. It didn't go far. Tang Feng stopped suddenly. With a solemn face, he said no. It's too slow. Dozens of mid-grade warriors attacked the military taunt. This has never happened before. The situation has deteriorated. I don't have time to take them to get acquainted with it. Next, split into 2 teams. Lao Luo intends to replace the second product according to the original plan. I took Sampin deep into the meat grinder. After that, let them move freely. It's up to them to live or die. Luo Yichuan hesitated. Hold on this. Tang Feng said that the 3-rank martial artist should go to fight if he cried forbiddenly. What is this now? We've handed it over. Blind protection will only harm them. Fang Ping drew a drop of cold sweat on his face. Such a detachment would disrupt the initial plan. Not so good. At the same time, he secretly said in his heart, the detachment can't protect Xu Mei and them. I'm still thinking about rubbing some Yunshi's elixir. If you don't want to be in a group, you go it alone. With your strength, you should have killed the enemy from 50 kilometers away. Instead of wasting time here. Fang Ping touched it awkwardly. Touched his cheek. Isn't this the first time I've cried on the ground? Tang Feng said with a slight mockery. The 3 students I have taken. Generally, they will take the initiative to go out after 2 days of coming in. There's no one like you who is in a team waiting for the arrangement. Or stay in a group of second-rank dancers. Gives you a sense of superiority. Fang Ping's anger gradually rose. What Tang Feng went on to say encountered a weak enemy. You can go for the flash sale. But what if you encounter a strong enemy? Running away can only watch your teammates die. Fang Ping, you're really disappointing. At this time, Tang Feng said Fang Ping with a slight mockery. You're a disappointment. Lu Fengru and Li Changxing feel that you are highly talented. Say that you are a seedling of the clan. I think they're all wrong, because you never thought about taking the initiative to become stronger. Wang Jinyang and Qin Fengqin cried forbiddenly. If you kill the enemy, you dare to fight and kill the 5th. I know you're afraid of death. But aren't they afraid of death? What human beings want to cultivate is a strong man who dares to fight and fight, not a weak wolf in the flock. Fang Ping's complexion. It was already gloomy, as if it was about to drip water. He said in a deep voice, I just feel like I'm getting a little bit stronger. We'll be more effective. Tang Feng smiled disdainfully, and the sect master was not strong enough. Wait until you become a grandmaster. Will you think that the great grandmaster is stronger and more effective? And then again, and what excuses? Possession for the sake of humanity. What is the significance? Fang Ping said with anger in his endurance. If you provoke me, Tang Feng means self-righteousness. I've killed more 6-pins than you've ever seen. I still need to provoke you. Do you, Fang Ping, have any contribution to humanity? You can stay in the second team. This is a privilege I give you. After saying that, he turned around and walked forward. Follow me for the other 3 grades. Other 3rd-grade students came out one after another to keep up with Tang Feng. Fang Ping stood stunned. Fu Chanding saw this. He stepped forward and put his arm on the shoulder, comforting him and saying goodbye to his heart. Mr. Tang, you also know that you speak straighter. Fang Ping suddenly clenched his fists and looked at Fu Chanding. What did Tang Zhou think? I don't care. Your eyes. Is I also a timid person who is afraid of death? Fu Chanding smiled quietly. Nothing. When you get stronger, you can kill the enemy. That's a good idea. But Yang Xiaoman said, I think what Mr. Tang said is right. If I were a 3-grade high section, I've already gone out to kill the enemy by myself. Fang Ping sighed deeply. Then he turned his head to look at the crowd. Honestly, I'm teaming up with you. In the event of a strong enemy. Do you think I'm a drag on you? Also, every time I team up, I ask for more loot. What do you guys think? Everyone looked away. Fell silent. After a moment of hesitation, Fu Chanding opened his mouth. You are much better than us. Team up with you. We don't have a sense of existence. Fang Ping was silent for a moment. Said self-deprecatingly. I see. Tang Feng was right. I'm really self-righteous. You want to be stronger. I want to experience life and death. I thought I was in a cave. I'm half of your backer. Your fathers were strong. It's good to protect yourself if something happens. There's no need for me to be nosy. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave. I went to the Sampin team. Be careful yourselves. Chun Yunqi hurriedly explained. Fang Ping. That's not what everyone meant. Ignored his rhetoric. Fang Ping jumped out into the distance. Fang Ping Chun Yunqi shouted anxiously. Luo Yichuan raised his hand to stop it, but smiled and said it was okay. I don't think Fang Ping is a person who drills the horns. Sooner or later he will understand. Old Tang is optimistic about him to say this. Chun Yunqi wanted to say something, but Fu Chanding also persuaded him. Yunqi forgot it. He didn't have any pressure to stay with us. All we have to do is follow in his footsteps. That's for his good, Chun Yunqi said, anxiously pointing in one direction. But Mr. Tang is in the direction of due north. He went northeast. The audience was silent for an instant. Awe. A drop of cold sweat slipped on Fu Shanting's face. Oops, I remember that Fang Ping seemed to be a bit of a road idiot. Luo Yichuan hurriedly said, "You wait here for me for a while. I'll be right back." After speaking, he quickly ran in the direction Fang Ping had left. It didn't take long. Ruo Chuan came back breathlessly. Everyone asked teacher Luo anxiously, "How did you find Fang Ping? He's from Tangsung." Roikwa looked up, said with a solemn face, "Fang Ping was gone. I fucked a 4-rank dancer." The road idiot boy left the team angrily. Unexpectedly, the elk encountered a strong enemy. At this time, Tang Feng was taking the 3 students with him, swift towards the meat grinder. After a moment of running, he stopped, glanced back. Slightly stunned, he said that he didn't keep up. The students also turned to look back. One of the girls said she didn't come. "This guy is really greedy for life and afraid of death." A boy next to him said, "Don't say that. Everyone has their own ideas. What's right for you is the best." Tang Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. "Since I like to stay in the second team, then stay there." So he raised his hand and said, "Speed up. Arrive at your destination before dark. The next step is not to return to the city." The students answered. I followed. On the other side at this time, Fang Ping was speeding through the forest. He steadied himself. Look up, look ahead. A drop of cold sweat slipped down his face. "What about bastard people? Didn't you deliberately keep me from catching up?" He looked around. Numerous bloodstains were found on the ground. There are traces of a battle everywhere. So I should have arrived at the meat grinder. Immediately, his brows furrowed slightly, and he hadn't even encountered it. Could it be that they have changed direction? What do I do? He turned his head to look behind him. When he returned, he immediately dismissed the idea. No. Now, go back. It will only make them think that I am just greedy for life and afraid of death. So he pondered. Then kill a few weeping warriors. Go back and kill a few more 3-grade peaks. Let them know I've killed more Sampin than they've ever seen. As long as you don't encounter the 6th-grade pinnacle of the big lion, it shouldn't be a big problem. Just as he was in a broken thought, suddenly he noticed movement. Hurriedly swung his knife backwards. Who can be left empty? A drop of cold sweat slipped down Fang Ping's face. Do the weeping dancers understand what I'm saying? It should work. Just one word. He quickly ducked behind a tree. Then he cautiously poked his head out to observe. After discovering that no one is there, then he touched his head and walked out with a little strangeness. There was no movement at all. Am I too sensitive? Just as he let his guard down, a long sword suddenly struck from the side. However, Fang Ping's reaction was also extremely sensitive. Leaned back quickly to dodge the attack. Immediately after that, he quickly chased after the cloud step. The weeping dancer's face was incredulous. Such a perfect shot at my own timing. It actually fell short. He didn't react yet. Fang Ping had already slashed it with one sword. Flashes of lightning. I heard only a stabbing sound. The immortal dancer rolled his eyes. Fell to the ground. Fang Ping was afraid for a while. He raised his hand and touched the blood on his neck. I was almost killed. Due to a fast heartbeat, even the vision is a little blurry. He hurriedly adjusted his breathing to calm down. Now concentrate all your chi and blood on your neck. Aids in wound healing. Finish treating the injuries. Fang Ping walked over to the corpse of the cave dancer. A handful ripped the tag off his neck. Fang Ping carefully looked at the tag in his hand. This is the cave dancer medal. The 3 swords represent the 3 qualities. Judging by the strength, it should be the first stage. Fang Ping flipped the medal to the other side. In class, Professor Shirlao talked about it. There is a 100-meter giant tree in Tianmen City. They made it to ashes. Put away the medal. Fang Ping danced the cave again. His weapons and belongings were all recovered. A first-class sword, 1 grain, and 1 moment to cultivate energy stones. Stone carving of the foundation energy stone. The total value is less than 2 million. Kill your opponent at the risk of your life. This harvest is too small. And the value of wealth has not increased. Fang Ping immediately became alert. The value of wealth has not increased. That means they don't belong to me yet. Sure enough, the next second, another cave warrior sprang out from behind him. The Kaga cave warrior shouted. Slash with a knife. Fang Ping, who was already perceived, dodged the attack with a horizontal jump. Look at this cave warrior. The chi and blood emanating from the body fluctuated. Fang Ping was sweating profusely in an instant. The groove turned out to be a siping martial artist. What did 2 grandmaster powerhouses appear at the same time? And there is only one possibility. The caverns are clearing the enemy. Prepare for the big war. At this time, Tang Feng pinched to death a martial artist in the cave. Then he explained to the students. Encounter a warrior in the cave. Don't panic and don't run around. The enemy appears. it means that there is a high probability that there will be no one of your own. The deeper you go, the more strong people in Tianmin City. The right thing to do is to run back. Players, we also have a lot of mid-quality hunting. The enemy will not dare to chase it all the time. The students responded in unison. Understand subsequently. Tang Feng frowned slightly. There are more dancers in the strange middle than before. Could it be that Tianmin City has to make a move? And the other side at this time, Fang Ping was being beaten by the 4-rank cave dancer. Chased desperately to escape. Fang Ping ran, sweating profusely. The teacher in class said it. The mid-class dancers are the backbone of the cave and humanity. It's not often seen. But now, just walk around and come across a cloud step. Now I can run 30 meters per second. Even I can't get rid of this guy. It's too dangerous for the to meow. In the past, those warriors who were forbidden to cry on the 3 grades. How did you survive? Fang Ping is now depressed. It's all weird. The line actually said that I should do the task alone. Forget it if you get reprimanded. Fu Shanding. They also said that it was not good to team up with me. I was almost killed. Now another mid-grade martial artist is chasing after him. How could I be so unlucky? At this time, Fang Ping ran to a bush. His eyes widened suddenly. Next second, a weeping warrior suddenly burst out of the bushes. A shot stabbed at Fang Ping. Fang Ping hurriedly jumped over. Dodge attacks. He steadied himself. Look up. I saw the metal of this cave warrior. It is carved with 4 arrows. No, there is another 4 draw. Don't take it with you yet. Come back to your senses. An arrow carrying the power of weeping blood. Suddenly shot from behind. With a keen mental sense, Fang Ping quickly dodged the attack with a bow. Arrows swept over Fang Ping's head. Shoot at a giant tree in the distance. I only heard a bang. The thick trunk of the tree was frozen through in an instant. Look at the big hole in the trunk. Fang Ping was shocked. Chi and blood are released. Attachments are out of Evo. It is a 4-rank archer. Without the slightest hesitation, Fang Ping immediately turned around and ran. Damn, what's going on? How are there 4 flat dancers everywhere? Gotta figure it out, otherwise you will die. At this time, Fang Ping ran to a mountain forest. His brow furrowed. At the end of the forest. This is a phrase that is often heard in class. The mountains and forests are a great place to take refuge. But it is also possible to encounter opponents who are more formidable than the warriors. But what could be more terrible? No matter what, it goes on like this. It is not known how many enemies will be drawn. Thereupon, Fang Ping rushed into the mountains and forests without looking back. The 3-winged emperor, crying warrior hesitated for a moment outside the mountain forest. Also rushed in. At this time, the sky looked at the few people who rushed in. Wang Jing was stunned. Then land on the ground. Immediately, a drop of cold sweat slid down his face. Fang Ping, this kid had to run into the depths. Lu Fengru can't blame me. Then he turned his head to look at the sky. Besides, this time I met a big one. Next second, I saw a cave warrior swooping down from a high altitude. Everywhere they passed, there was a series of wind-breaking sounds. Both of them threw a punch. Violent energy fluctuations. It spread out violently from the center of the collision. With an earth-shattering bang, the surrounding 100 meters instantly turned into nothingness. The waves of air dissipated. The cave warrior jumps back. Distance. Take a look quietly. The person who came turned out to be the Heavenly Tiger, the commander of Tianmin City. Huang Jin's brows furrowed. What's the trouble? In a cave meat grinder. Is the default training area for middle and lower level martial artists on both sides. High quality and strong people will appear here. There is only one possibility to sweep the enemy. Prepare for the big war. The tiger don't talk nonsense either. Straight punch out, accompanied by a tiger roar. A huge tiger condensed by spiritual power. Swept out suddenly. That's not enough. The corners of Huang Jin's mouth lifted. Quickly close your palms forward. In the blink of an eye, several spiritual power giant swords were condensed. The great sword made a buzzing sound in the air. In the next second, he went straight to the giant tiger. Bang! Waves of air suddenly spread from the center of the explosion. This blow on both sides. No one took advantage. At this time, Huang Jing suddenly turned his head to look at the sky. There was another high frequency. It's because there are a few people who bully me. Then he dodged. Come behind the celestial tiger. Case. Then let's cripple one first. The heavenly tiger's pupils suddenly constricted. Hurriedly condensed the spiritual force. Tiger had defense. But Huang Jing is not vegetarian. I saw him put his hands into the tiger's head. He tore the axe to pieces. Mental power has been hit hard. The tiger fell to his knees with a thud. But Huang Jing is also hugely consumed. Breathing heavily. Tearing the spiritual power does not kill the galloping warrior. It can only inflict heavy damage. In the face of 2 high-quality products, to stay is to seek death. But he can't go back to the city. There are also thousands of human dancers in a butcher's factory. If I'm gone, I'm sure there will be countless deaths and injuries. Lure them away. So Huang Jing quickly turned around and swept into the air. I didn't expect that. Master, I rely on mental power. The teenager overstepped the level to outwit the cave dancers. At this time, Fang Ping repelled a cave dancer with a single sword. Then he shouted, "Keep chasing." A few people were indifferent. Fang Ping erected his acne eyes. I forgot that they couldn't understand Chinese. Luckily, I was prepared. Thereupon, he hooked his fingers at several people with an arrogant face. Nai. This cave language was learned by Fang Ping from Old Man Li before. Teacher Li taught me a few words of swearing cave language. Old Man Li said suspiciously, "Ah, what are you doing here?" A wicked smile erupted on Fang Ping's face. Provoke your opponents. Swearing words can engage in mentality. If the enemy flees, maybe I can scold you back. Old Man Li said after a moment of silence. Nai. Fang Ping clenched his fists. A look of excitement on his face. That's a good one. It's dirty to listen to. What is the meaning? Old Man Li said with a smile. It's probably you who kinda hacked me to death. And at this time, several younger brothers who heard Fang Ping say this sentence cried dancers. Confused, a drop of cold sweat slid down on his face at the same time. Fang Ping became more and more excited when he saw this. What does this expression mean? I didn't hear it clearly, so he repeated it out loud for another 2 years. Several people curled the corners of their mouths for a while. Fang Ping wondered what was going on. Why did you start laughing again? Subsequently, the sword-wielding weeping dancer began to gather his strength to attack. Fang Ping was so frightened that he turned around and ran. It's too provocative. Kaga's sword-wielding dancer charged and swung his sword. A blood-colored sword light swept out. Bang! The knife light is on the back of the square level. Fang Ping spurted out a mouthful of blood. Footsteps also became staggering. Just when the cave dancer thought he was going to fall, Fang Ping accelerated suddenly. With a snap, it disappeared. The instant cave dancers were taken aback. Hurriedly chased after him. It didn't take long, and it was getting dark. Fang Ping hid behind a big tree, gasping for air. He turned his head to feel the injury in his back. Fortunately, I wore 4-grade leather armor. The injuries were not too serious. The plan should have been deliberately consume chi and blood. I also ate a knife. They will surely let their guard down. I can't do it at night. Kill me, and then the corners of his mouth twitched. But I don't rely on power. It's mental power. Now is my chance to fight back. During the day, because of the sun, everywhere is full of energy particles. But at night, energy fluctuations will be detected by me in a more intuitive way. Then he turned on the system. The difficulty is difficult. The 3 of them couldn't force their way in. Gotta kill them separately. The wealth is worth only 78 million. The things that are in hand are not counted all the time. Wealth can't go on like this. At this time, the cave dancers were just as Fang Ping expected. I'm looking for her in the mountains and forests. Suddenly there was a click. Several people were shocked at the same time, then quickly ran to the location where the voice came from. Come here. I saw 3 pieces of rags scattered on the ground. The 3 of them picked up the pieces of cloth. One of them said auspiciously. The 3 of them glanced at each other, nodding. Then they went their separate ways. But they didn't expect it. Fang Ping actually left spiritual power on the cloth. Their actions were completely under Fang Ping's control. The corners of Fang Ping's mouth were raised very well. Separated, I didn't expect this ability to be put to practical use. It's so convenient. It's the same as an X-ray. But in order to prevent them from playing tricks on themselves, Fang Ping didn't act in a hurry. Instead, they stayed there and watched their movements. The result was exactly what Fang Ping thought. The sword-wielding warrior remained where he was. The archers are always within 100 meters. This distance can be at any time with each other. Only the gunman came out of the kilometer range. Looks confident that he can kill me alone. The time is ripe. Fang Ping began to act. Go find this one who is alone. Fang Ping pondered. It will take at least a minute or 2 for the other 2 to come to the rescue. For knives in 1 second is enough for me to cut 500 knives. I guess I can hack to death. So Fang Ping approached the dancer with a gun, deliberately exposing the location. The dancer with a gun cautiously approached Fang Ping, and Fang Ping was full of mental power. Carefully perceive his actions coming. The energy particles are all gathered on the weapon. The next second, the dancer with a gun stabbed out with a sudden shot. Bang! The trunk of the tree where Fang Ping was located burst open in an instant. Fang Ping leaped forward, come to the top of his head, and the soles of his feet stepped into the void, slashed down the bloody madness with a single sword. At this time, Fang Ping had been planning for a long time. Toward the dancer with the gun is a slash in the head. But the other party is 4 flats after all. The dancers are also extremely responsive, reflexively fended off the attack with a single shot. At the same time, a disdainful smile appeared on his face. Stress-free. The corners of Fang Ping's mouth lifted. One trick pony, don't look at Lao, Su's big consumption. After a while, it will be full of chi and blood. Hack you to death. After that, raising the phoenix mouth knife is a random cut. Facing Fang Ping is quasi offensive. The dancers with guns had to raise their guns and fight desperately. The sound of metal clashing echoed through the mountains and forests. At this time, Fang Ping was like a passive Dian Wei. Utter madness. Consumes wealth points. Fang Ping's chi and blood recovered instantly. The dancers with guns were shocked. Now is the time. Just when he was stunned, Fang Ping's mouthful of blood swordsmanship spurted out. The dancers with guns hurriedly turned their heads to dodge. But due to the smaller amplitude of the eccentricity, the blood sword shattered his teeth directly. Piercing in, I saw a scream from the dancer with a gun. Then cover your head. A mouthful of blood spurted out. Fang Ping seized the opportunity. Hand up and knife down. The knife flashed. I only heard a pop of the hand. The gun dancer received a box lunch. His body fell to the ground in response. Fang Ping squatted down, quickly rummaged through valuable things. After a few moments, 3 base energy stones were turned out. 2 cultivation energy stones and a 4-horse medal. Fang Ping was holding the spear of the spear-wielding dancer and was about to leave. But he stopped abruptly. His eyes narrowed slightly. Just now this guy thought I was spitting up normal blood. So just close your eyes. As a result, I suffered a big loss. Can't let the other 2 know. He died because of blood swordsmanship. So he turned and slashed down. Directly chopped off the head of the spear-wielding warrior. Not for a while. 2 other cave warriors also rushed over. See the corpse of a companion. The 2 were taken back. Hurriedly back to back vigilant. Fang Ping found a place. Take the sword and spear you got from killing the weeping warrior before. Buried. I didn't expect this spear to be of ground-grade alloy. Even the barrel of the gun is made of metal. The weight should be at least 30 pounds. Probably worth more than my phoenix mouth knife. After mine, Fang Ping made another mark on the tree next to him. Hope to get it back here. The loot is processed. Fang Ping's eyes were clear. The remaining 2 could not be separated. We have to kill them before dawn. So Fang Ping took advantage of the night. A guerrilla war was waged. Go up and make a trick directly. Ran without a fight. Continuously drained their energy, blood, and patience. But the one who defiles the earth is not stupid. One of them pretended not to find out. His leather armor was pierced. Almost stabbed in the heart. Of course, they don't feel good either. There is not much blood left. After Fang Ping consumed tens of millions of well points, the 2 weeping dancers gave up the pursuit, trying to get out of the jungle. At this time, Fang Ping hid behind a tree. The corners of his mouth raised slightly. I've consumed so much of my wealth. How could I let you run? In the next second, Fang Ping suddenly rushed out of Nayagakari. It was played by Fang Ping. It's been so long. The anger of the 2 soared. The knife dancer couldn't bear it anymore. He burst out with a loud shout. Fang Ping stepped on the cloud step and quickly dodged. Looks like it's the last big move. Can't be a hard sword. And at this very moment, a sword bolt with the power of chi and blood burst through the air. Fang Ping kicked the trunk of the tree with the soles of his feet and turned to dodge. But the sword suddenly changed its trajectory. Straight to Fang Ping. Fang Ping was taken aback. Hurriedly gathered chi and blood to the back for defense. The damn thing turned out to be tracking. There was a rattle between the arrows. Immediately after that, it stabbed into Fang Ping's body with a snort. Chi and blood defenses were broken through. The cooperation between the 2 is very tacit. At the moment when Fang Ping was shot by an arrow, the sword-wielding dancer had come to him. A knife went straight to his head and cut it off. Fang Ping stepped to the void with his right foot, barely sideways to dodge. I only heard a click. The stem of a tree behind him was split in 2. Fang Ping backhanded the sword-wielding warrior and repelled it. He looked at his injured left hand, although avoiding the slash. But he was still injured by the knife. Broken meridians. I can't use my left hand for a while. Then he looked up and grinned, which was pretty good. While speaking, he also used the system to restore chi and blood. Looking at Fang Ping, whose chi and blood had recovered instantly, the knife dancer's eyes widened. A look of disbelief. This time, Fang Ping gathered the power of chi and blood to the arrows on his back. The arrows wriggled quickly. Look at a pop fell off Fang Ping's back. The arrow falls off. Fang Ping shouted, burst out of Nayagakari. The sword-wielding dancer shouted to the dancer behind him. After also quickly catching up, the dancer frowned. A hint of determination flashed in his eyes. Fang Ping held a knife in his right hand. A swing of the knife. But the dancer with the knife did not avoid it in the slightest. He directly raised his hand and grabbed the phoenix mouth knife. Fang Ping was taken aback. I didn't even have him to react. The knife-wielding dancer suddenly tugs at the mouth knife. At the same time, throw away the long knife in your hand. Hug Fang Ping, shouted Kago. Congratulations were heard. The dancers in the distance quickly raised their bows and charged their strength. Fang Ping's pupils suddenly constricted. But they will die with me. So he hurriedly puffed out his mouth and released the blood sword technique. You send it to your door. Bang! The sword-wielding dancer is headshot on the spot by the blood sword. Fang Ping struggled desperately to hold the hand of knife dancer, but there was no sign of letting go at all. I don't let go of the hateful death. By this time, the bow-wielding dancer had already completed the process. An arrow that carries the power of the blood shot towards Fang Ping and the others. Fang Ping raised his head and roared. The next second, I only heard a snap. Arrows flew past their heads. The bodies of the two also fell to the ground with a clatter. Bow dancers sweat profusely. A hideous smile appeared on his face. Maybe a second, his smile froze instantly. I saw Fang Ping push the body of the knife-wielding dancer away. Then sit up, exhale slowly. The warrior with a bow saw this. My heart was filled with despair in an instant. Thereupon, he hurriedly took out the energy stone from the cloth bag around his waist. He spat out a mouthful of dirty blood at the energy stone. The luster of the energy stone dimmed instantly. Fang Ping saw this. Furious, he actually polluted the energy stone with his blood. Then he rushed out and killed you. But the dancer is also a ruthless person. Seeing Fang Ping rushing over, a smile appeared on his face. Directly raised his hand and punched his heart. Fang Ping slowly stopped. Look at the dancer who fell to the ground. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. It's decisive. Destroy the energy stone. Break your own heart. Even if it's death. Don't let the enemy get the slightest benefit from him. Fang Pingdong's voice, but sat down on the ground. A big sigh of relief. This is a war. Fight subsequently. He took out an elixir and ate it. This time into the cave. I only brought some healing water and a life pill. The inner house was hit hard. I didn't expect it to be used up so soon. And he killed a total of 4 cave warriors. Take stock. Weapons seized from the 2 weeping warriors. A ground and a long knife. 1 carpenter and 12 bows and arrows. The basic energy of the 4 people is a total of 5 pieces of 60 grams. 13 pieces of cultivation energy. Less than 10 grams. These are sold. An estimated 15 million survived. He opens the system panel. Now the wealth is worth more than 60 million. Plus hidden swords and spears. I don't know if there's any hope of breaking 100 million. That's right. There is also an energetic heart of a mid-grade martial artist. Forthwith, Fang Ping turned his head to look at the corpse of the sword-wielding warrior on the ground. Stuck in a tangle digging or not digging. After a moment, he exhaled deeply. This is war. No matter how disgusting it is, I'll have to get used to it. Do your best to make yourself stronger. If it were me who died here today, it didn't end much better. So he took up his long knife. Start digging the heart of the knife dancer. A moment later, there was a ding. The system prompt sounds, increases wealth by 16 million. Next day, Fang Ping found the place where the spear had been buried the night before. Along the traces of the battle, it was finally recovered. The system prompt sounds, increase your wealth by 15 million. Fang Ping looked excitedly at the spear and sword in his hand. 15 million, these two are really good things. If you sell it, you can exceed his price. It can go up a little more. The benefits are promising. But the next second, he rolled his eyes. But it's hard to bring so many things. And there's a more serious problem. Where am I? No, it's so unlucky. The Horn King of the peak of the 7 grades can be met by me. At this time, Tang Feng was leading the Sampin students. He circled and suppressed several 4-rank Emperor crying dancers. He shouted and killed quickly. It was the students who responded. A more ferocious offensive was launched. Tang Feng frowned slightly. It's still too tender. Kill a few 4-rank dancers. It took so long. Kill enemies in the meat grinder. Even if you get hurt, you can't delay. Otherwise, it will only attract more enemies. At this time, Tang Feng suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. I saw Huang Jing falling from the sky. Dean Huang Tang Feng said hello. Huang Jing said with a solemn face that the war was about to start. Word came last night, although the high level of Tianmen City was temporarily repelled by us. But we can't let students continue to fall out of love here. You hurry up and take someone back to Hope City. A drop of cold sweat slipped on Tang Feng's forehead. Really? I'll just say that the number of medium grades on the meat grinder side is not right. Huang Jing continued. Besides, Fang Ping lost it. Tang Feng hadn't reacted yet. Subconsciously responded. Be a second. He suddenly shouted in a sweat. What is lost? Isn't he in Lao Luo's team? Wang Jing raised his hand to block Tang Feng's saliva. Again, it was lost. Yesterday, after you left, and he went northeast. Then he was chased into Zhangwanglin by 3 4-rank dancers. I want to keep chasing. As a result, they encountered Celestial Tiger and the Ancient Spear. Just lost, Tang Feng said in disbelief. I thought with his character, it's impossible to get out on your own. Wang Jing sighed helplessly. Young people, after all, it's too exciting. Seriously, Tang Feng asked hesitantly. 3 4 pins. Then he died. Wang Jing said she didn't know. I can only do a cursory survey on the outskirts of the dead forest. The problem now is more than 90 students. Only Fang Ping was lost. If he doesn't come back, I'm afraid there will be chaos in the magic house. 2 people. I couldn't help but imagine Lu Fenger's crazy appearance at the same time. So Tang Feng immediately said, I'll go find him. After that, I have to leave. Huang Jing dissuaded and said that it would be the same if you go. How to find the forest so big. What's more, now Tian'an City is ready to launch. War, you have to get back to Hope City as soon as possible. Tang Feng said. Then bring the student back and look for it later. I'll be back before the big fight. Looked at Tang Feng's stubborn appearance. Huang Jing sighed helplessly. Then I'll look for it again. The Horned Undead are now haunted by high-grade characters. You stay safe. Tang Feng's eyes were complicated. And he left. The other side. Fang Ping was running rapidly among the Horned Undead at this time. A drop of cold sweat slipped down his face. Know how? Qi, blood, and mental power are becoming more and more active. So he hurriedly stopped. Hope City, an energy-barren place. The energy concentration in front is so high. It means I'm going deeper into the cavern. You have to go in the direction of low energy concentration. So he closed his eyes. Unleash your mental power. Sense the energy fluctuations around you. After a moment, he turned his head excitedly. This is it. He quickly moved towards it. Run in the direction of low concentration of energy particles. Very well, the energy particles are getting lower and lower. It's time to go out. He smirked. Luckily, I'm mentally strong. If it were someone else, surely get lost in this wood. But he suddenly stopped with a foot on the brakes. It's strange how all the energy particles are suddenly gone. The next second, a head and body are sharp. A giant beast with golden fur all over its body appeared before his eyes. Fang Ping was like a thunderbolt in the sky in an instant. The groove turned out to be a high-grade demon beast. It was he who absorbed all the energy particles around him. And that's not all. He also hid his aura. That's why I didn't find him. At this point, the giant beast slowly turned its head. His eyes were fixed on Fang Ping. Fang Ping instantly felt goosebumps all over his body. He's looking at my energy stones. So he hurriedly took out the energy stone and threw it on the ground. No offense. It's a little bit of caution. I saw the giant beast with a big mouth. He sucked all the energy stones into his mouth. Then he crushed it and ate it. Fang Ping's mouth opened wide in an instant. Tears couldn't help but burst out of my eyes. Ate more than 10 million of my energy stones. After eating the energy stone, the giant beast stared at Fang Ping again. Fang Ping slowly retreated, still staring at me. Are you going to eat me? No, listen. I should have done it a long time ago. Won't wait until now. Suddenly, there was a buzz. Fang Ping's body was blocked. Fang Ping was taken back. Abominable is a spiritual power barrier. Don't let me go. So he sweated profusely and laughed and laughed. I'm gone. It's all for you. The fourth is to understand Fang Ping's words. The behemoth lifted a foot, and a ball of qi and blood energy was condensed on the soles of the feet. Then take a bite. After doing this series of actions, the giant beast turned its gaze to Fang Ping again. Fang Ping's face was incredulous. He was going to let me feed him with blood and qi. This guy has intelligence. So he raised his hand to condense his qi and blood energy. Sure enough, it was the same as Fang Ping thought. The behemoth opened its mouth, just sucked all the qi and blood energy he had condensed into his mouth. After devouring, the giant beast stared at Fang Ping again. Fang Ping had to condense his qi and blood again. He couldn't help but complain in his heart. Condensing once is dozens of calories of qi and blood. This is a look of dissatisfaction. You won't let me feed it all the time. At this time, the periphery of the dead forest was suppressed. Wang Jing looked at the corpse of the weeping dancer on the ground. Throw a fit. Fang Ping, this kid, actually killed 3 Sippin. Then he stroked his chin helplessly. This is only 20 kilometers from the forest. Now that the enemies are dead, why go deeper? You're going to Tujiao. Then his eyes froze. Creatures at the pinnacle. The skin is rough and the meat is thick. Even an 8-rank golden body powerhouse may not be an opponent. The big war is imminent. If I touch a foot here, It will definitely affect the battle situation of the entire demon capital cave. Let's think about the big picture when you go back to the city. Huang Jing once wanted to empty the ground. There are still such comics. The protagonist actually works for the monster. Is there anything more aggrieved than being a cook? At this time, 2 lines of clear tears flowed down Fang Ping's face. Recovered chi and blood 6 times with the system. Consumed more than 6 million wealth points. The beast was finally fed. After calming down, Fang Ping realized that he had run to the hanged undead. And the one in front of him is the golden-horned beast king. While he closes his eyes and rests, tries sneaking away. But this guy actually kept staring at me with mental power. Fang Ping's teeth grinned. Although his life was saved for the time being. But do you want to be a cook for him all the time? If the wealth is exhausted, it is still a dead end. What should I do?